Joining me now, we have our friend California Congressman Eric Swalwell. He serves on the Judiciary and Homeland Security Committees and is running for California governor. Congressman, welcome. Can I just ask, who's running the communications, at least social media, for the White House? That the president said, yeah, somebody put it on and they looked at it and didn't see the whole thing. Are they aware that they're doing this for the White House, the presidency of the United States, and that it matters?
Yeah, and Mr. accused everyone of the auto pen now doesn't want to take responsibility for the tweets that he's put out. Look, I actually don't think there's been enough Republicans to condemn this. I wouldn't call it unity at all. In fact, there's around 270 plus Republicans who serve in the Congress between the House and the Senate. So that means we're talking about, under 10% have even spoken about this. From the time that Trump came down that golden escalator and insulted Mexicans, he's displayed a racism that's never been seen, as you pointed out, in an office this high. But the posting of the Obamas, it's so vile, Alex. It's so low. It just shocks the conscience. As shocking as the Republican silence, they helped Donald Trump cover the country in shame.
So how can or should Democrats respond when this president, this social media office within the White House continues to lower the bar, if not collapse it altogether, for decency? What can Democrats do?
Yeah. We're going to lower the costs when we are in the majority. We're going to lower the cost of what you pay. Like, literally, we're going to lower the cost. And figuratively, we're going to lower the cost of what this means to us as a country. His indecency, posting a vile image like this, his cruelty, publicly executing people in the streets, the lack of compassion, chasing immigrants through the fields where they work. That really, to me, is the message, is a lower cost message. You should pay less, and what the president has done to us should cost all of us, figuratively, a lot less.
We're an open forum. Any public policy or political issue, news of the day. John in New Mexico, Republican.
Hello, is that me?
That's you.
Oh, my word. I am a registered Republican. My dad was the president of American Pipeliners Association, so I came by it rather naturally. Voted for the president, supported him, but I really want to apologize. I mean, I'm looking at this awful picture of the Obamas. What an embarrassment to our country. All this man does is tell lies. He is not worthy of the presidency. He takes bribes blatantly, and now he's being a racist blatantly. They were supposed to deport the dangerous criminals. They were not supposed to go after small children, storm schools, bring terror upon, the little kids and the women and children, not just the immigrants in the school. All the children are scared. This is not a decent man. This is not an honest man. He openly takes bribes. He's pathetic as a president. And I just want to apologize to everybody in the country for supporting this rotten man.
John, did you vote for him in all three elections?
I did. I was sucked into the stupidity of creating jobs, and there are no more jobs in New Mexico. Things are worse than they were before. You cannot find a primary care physician. Our governor just passed some laws to try to help. If you are a young physician, we want you in New Mexico. Come here. There's a great need for you.
All right.
And I'll close my call.
John, I've got a lot of people waiting. So let me go to John in Syracuse, New York.
It is offensive because it is inherently racist. The trope about depicting black people as animals goes all the way back to white Europeans looking for a justification for colonization and the enslavement of African people. And it gained prominence in the 1700s and 1800s, and it became a racial, like a scientific theory. I'm using air quotes. And it was a mainstream theory that put a hierarchy that said white Europeans were at the top and Africans were at the bottom. And depiction of apes was very central to this theory. They were at the bottom. They were closer to primitive beings such as apes. Therefore, black people, specifically in that time, Africans, were more better suited for forced labor and domination. So it is racist because the root of this theory, this trope, this joke, okay, that the White House is talking about, is rooted in the ability to dominate, rape, pillage, and inflict violence upon black people.
I will say, Eugene, that this post is being condemned from both sides of the aisle, including Republican Senator Tim Scott, saying it's the most racist thing he's seen out of this White House. The implication, of course, is that it's not the only racist thing he's seen out of this White House. But I wonder if you think there is some line with this that has been crossed. And by the way, the posts that have been racist in the past have been posted on official government accounts. These are not individuals within the government who are posting things on their private accounts. I'm sorry, Eugene, go ahead.
No, that is a really important point, because that means that we all paid them to post a racist thing on the internet, right? That is a really important point. You're right. We're hearing from Tim Scott. We're hearing from Mike Lawler, some Republicans who have issues with this. Tim Scott, of course, being the only black senator on the Republican side, and being someone who has been close-ish to this White House. But I will also say this is who Donald Trump is. Right. And I think the Republican Party has to accept that. We as journalists have to accept that. The American people have to accept that. The world has to accept that. This is a man who spent money to take out a full page ad calling for the execution of 5 black and brown men. Now the exonerated 5. This is someone who spent months and years saying that Barack Obama was not born here, that the racist trope about this, this interloper who doesn't belong here, who is someone who is not a part of the American experiment, the first black president of this country. That's what he spent his time doing. So this is the idea from this White House that this was an accident. The idea that this was just a meme that was posted. This is who Donald Trump is. And even if it is true that a staffer posted it, right? Well, I think we all have a lot of questions about that. If it's true that a staffer posted it, this person believed that it represented the thoughts and the feelings of the president in which that they serve. And that says a lot, that they thought it would be okay. It was up for 12 hours because they do not care. They think it is okay to be racist and treat black and brown people terribly in order to, quote unquote, own the libs. And I think we just have to be really honest about what that means, because it means it's a lot about where we are as a country and how we're going to operate the rest of this presidency and really the Republican Party moving forward.
Well, let's talk about what else is happening right now, Simone. I mentioned this image of the Obamas was inside a video focused on false theories about election fraud in the 2020 election. Trump, of course, has come under fire for saying he wants to nationalize election in 15, he calls crooked states, because, quote, these people were brought to our country to vote and they vote illegally. What is Donald Trump trying to accomplish here?
It is this. I'm sorry. I just have to say, it's the 6th day of Black History Month. This is too much. I just think we need a do-over. So this idea, first of all, I do think he is trying to steal the election. And I'm not talking about manipulating votes when I say that. I think I'm talking, so let's just be clear. What I'm talking about is the actions that the president himself and the people around the president have taken. The executive order that he put out about elections at the beginning of this presidency, the call to not Georgia, but to Texas last year, asking them to find him 5 more seats. That is what kicked off this mid-decade redistricting, to manufacture more seats, to manipulate the voters, because the president does not believe that he could win as the maps currently stand. I'm talking about the election deniers that have been given roles within the Department of Homeland Security, made up roles over election integrity. One of the ways he will try to steal the election is he's asking these states for voter rolls across the country. Why do you need the voter rolls? Well, what do voter rolls contain? They contain personal information such as your social security number, names and whatnot. Potentially that could be used to target people with misinformation and disinformation. We already know from reporting that that has at least two staffers from DOJ, according to Bloomberg reporting. A whistleblower noted that they had referred the actions up to disciplinary chains because these DOJ individuals had given sensitive information to a voter advocacy group. I highly doubt that those people were looking to elect Democrats. So I like the going in and seizing ballots out of Fulton County 6 years after the election was happening. If they're willing to do that for an election that happened 6 years ago, what do you think they're willing to do in the election coming up?
Republicans are now publicly distancing themselves from Trump on this issue, doing so openly and on air. Lawmakers, including well-known figures, have stepped away, as have everyday voters, such as callers on radio and television programs. However, it is important to recognize that this moment fits into a broader pattern in Donald Trump's political strategy. As mentioned earlier, his formal political rise was built on anti-immigrant and anti-Mexican rhetoric. But even before that, when he began positioning himself to run for president, he leaned heavily into racially charged attacks directed at Barack Obama, questioning his legitimacy by claiming he was not truly American. That argument rested entirely on race. Many people have parents who were born in other countries. In my own case, I am Canadian, and my father was born in Greece, yet my citizenship has never been questioned. At no point has anyone suggested that I am not a legitimate citizen because one of my parents was born abroad. Even outside of politics, no one has ever accused me, including commenters online, of being a fake citizen due to my background. That simply does not happen. The underlying reality is that Donald Trump has been attempting to dehumanize and delegitimize African Americans as a whole. The logic is simple. If he can do it to Barack Obama, he can do it to anyone. If he is willing to target Michelle and Barack Obama, two of the most prominent and influential black figures in modern history, then no one is beyond reach. The broader objective appears to be the delegitimization of future elections. African American voters overwhelmingly support Democrats and form a central pillar of the Democratic Party, even if not every black voter aligns that way. By undermining cities, Democratic states, the Obamas, African Americans, and people of color more broadly, Trump creates a narrative that can be used after electoral losses. In that scenario, he can claim that votes from those communities do not count. Anyone who believes Donald Trump is incapable of going that far does not understand his record.